Education as a character building. A Sanskrit couplet says, character is to be preserved with effort. The wealth comes and goes. It is not certain. When the wealth is not, nothing is lost, but when the character is lost, everything is lost. Organic evolution has brought us from the stage of animals to the stage of human beings. The loss of the jungle is survival of the fittest, which implies the victory of power, primarily physical power. The next stage of evolution involves human being becoming social being so that common aims and objects of humanity may be achieved without having to struggle against nature and creature of the jungle. At this stage, the intelligence of brain of man won a victory over the brawn of animals. But the selfish instinct remains, and the urge to sacrifice others' interest to further one's own self-interest often finds expression. A few stages of evolution has become essential so that man may regard his fellow being a member of global family and live in harmony with them. To effect this growth, education in it trust sense is what is essential, Swami Vivekananda says. We want that education by which character is formed, strength of mind is increased, the intellect is explained by the which one can stand one's own feet. Swami speaks about how to change our character. Every work that we do, every movement of the body, every thought that we think leaves such an impression on the mind, stuck, and even when such impressions are not obvious on the surface, they are sufficiently strong to work beneath the surface subconsciously. What we are very moment is determined by the sum total of these impressions on the mind. What I am just at this moment is the effect of the sum total of all the impression of my past life. This is really what is meant by character. Each man's character is determined by the sum total of these impression. It's a good impression prevail that character becomes good. If bad, it becomes. Martin Luther says, the prosperity of a country depends not on the abundance of its revenues, nor on the strength of its fortification, nor on the beauty of its public building, but it consists in the number of its cultivated citizens. In its men of education, enlightenment, and character, here are to be found its true interest in the cheap strength, its real power. Education as a man making. There is a story related to Socrates who once asked his student, what is your aim in life? One student responded that he wanted to become a lawyer, and other that he wanted to become a doctor, and so on and so forth. But one boy got up and declared that he wanted to become a man. The answer obviously pleased Socrates behind measure. We must become men first in real sense, and only then becoming lawyer etc will have a positive effect on the individual as well as the society. That is why Swamiji wanted man making education. A change in emphasis has therefore become necessary. It is essential to reorient the entire educational system in spiritual direction. Remember that is Hindus, everything else should be subordinated to our own educational ideals. The secret of the true Hindu character lies in the submission, knowledge of European science and learning of his health, position and name to that one principle sum which is inborn in every Hindu child, the spirituality and purity of the race. Two things of this necessary. First, turning away from sensate value, sensitive value, and second, positive faith in higher value. Hindu society, Hindu mythology speaks the king Yati who, on having exhausted his own youth, found that desire for enjoyment still remained with all its ardor. He then borrowed his son Puru's youth and exhausted that too. Finally, the realization dawned on him that Srimad Bhagavatam, desire is not quenched by filling his but rather its flame up just as fire does when clarified butter is poured. Traditional Indian thought did not differentiate between secular and spiritual knowledge. All knowledge was scared, all knowledge was spiritual, but the aim of lesser knowledge, aparavidya, was to let one paravidya, higher spiritual knowledge. Our thinkers were bold enough include even study of scared books, Vedas under Aparavidya, Paravidya was regarded as the spiritual experience which once immortally the first step towards cultivation this Paravidya to become a human being, a pillar of sense. Factors and contribute to the development of the personality. As stated earlier, there are many factors that contribute to the personality development, either positive or negatively. We can broadly classify the factor as follows: samskaras or past impression, enjoyment, work, education, experience, and the ideal of life.